Okay, we start off by saying that Cindy will not be here today. She is going to be attending a series of Tuesday evening meetings, which happens at the same time as this, listening to Regina Dawn Akers. And so she said, Dove, you got to run this thing on your own. And so far, so good. Hi, Corinne. So we'll start off, first of all, I just wanted to say if anyone was, I know that Corinne was at this Sunday on Awakening Together, where Cindy gave a homily, the Sunday morning homily. I know that Lynn was. I got to say that I thought it was absolutely, she was so perfect and so peaceful and so open and willing. So if anyone wants to say anything, because this is all being recorded, she'll get to hear it later. Anyone at all? And it's not necessary at all. We'll just continue, but I do want to say it was really enjoyable being there. And let's go right into what I was going to talk about today. And of course, it's not what I'm talking about. It's what everybody here wants to kind of contribute. So today's lesson is I place the future in the hands of God. That's the review lesson 214. And of course, I always open up with a Ken Wapnick commentary. Hi, Sharon Love. Hi, welcome. Congratulations on your grandson. I think you're muted. Yeah. Okay.
I can't say. I wanted to show you Noah.
Yes.
Here
Okay.
he is.
Yeah. Sharon is my sharing partner on Thursday mornings at ACIM Gather. So
Do you see him, Doug?
I didn't hear you. What?
Do you see Noah?
Have I seen Noah? Oh my goodness gracious.
Hello, Noah.
Newest addition to the community.
Welcome, Noah.
Wow.
Aw.
All right, I'm going to go. I just wanted you to see him. You know, I won't be there Thursday because I'm here. in
Okay.
Philly.
And,
Goodbye,
and,
everybody.
and you can stay here if you want, Sharon, you know.
Oh, I know, but we're going to probably eat.
Okay, all right.
This is Andrew.
Hi, nice.
Hi, Andrew. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Hi,
Andrew.
thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you.
All right, I love you.
Love you, Sharon.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, love.
So Kenneth Wapnick's commentary on this, which I think is very important, at least for me it is, because he names the three things that keep us from knowing the truth about who we are. And if you listen to Ken over the many years, I mean, he says, you know, the ego rests on three legs: sin, guilt, and fear. Sin, guilt, and fear. And in this commentary, he happens to mention, and if it came in a little later, I'll repost this so everyone can see it. I think it's easier to understand if you can see it. At least it is for me. He says, remember, he says, I place the future in the hands of God. So if you're not placing the future in the hands of God, you're undertaking your own defense. I mean, you think you can do a better job than God. I mean, after all, I mean, I don't really know that God's going to be here for me. I hope he's here, but just in case, I need something sure, you know, and I can plan things out, and I know what to say at the right time. I know who to avoid and who to block, and you know, it's always I know. And of course, if you hear the I know, you know you're listening to the ego, because that's what ego means in Latin. You know, I know. So this last lesson 194 or 214, the review of 194, is such a calming, at least for me, a lesson, because you're letting go completely. You say, I have nothing to do with defending, protecting. I give it all over to God. Now, whether you're giving it to God or you're giving it to the Holy Spirit, it's the same thing. I mean, we are perfectly safe. Lynn, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had not my mute on. Yeah, I'm okay. I got post
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's a way to just let go of all the things I'm holding on to in my mind. If you do the lesson on 194, it says this lesson brings you to the front lawn of heaven, the front lawn of heaven, which means you've returned. You're on the front lawn of heaven. You the last step is taken by God, which is I really need do nothing, which is probably the most time-saving thing that you can ever pick up in A Course in Miracles. I place the future in the hands of God, but Ken Wapnick goes a little bit deeper here, and this is what he says: without these defenses, there is nothing in our minds to protect anymore. And that's what the mind does. It's your protection. It's your defense mechanism. Remember, the ego is really like your the general of your army. He's the head of the Pentagon, and he builds your defenses. He knows exactly who to keep away and who to bring a little bit closer, but not too close. I don't want you to get too close now. Just close enough so you're closer to me than those people over there that I don't want even to come near me at all. So we see a lot of inequality, and that's a word I'm going to be using a lot today. Most of you know that I feel that inequality is probably, a lot of equality is really the easiest way to remember the truth, and inequality is the idea's way of the ego's way of seeing differences. Of course, we're not all equal. The ego says, I'm better than a lot of people, and there's a few people better than me, and it's always different levels. I'm over here, you're over there, and that's how we kind of know who we can talk to, who we can get our information from, who knows this about that. It's like the ego is your Google machine. I know exactly where to go. Yeah. So Ken Wapner goes on to say, you don't need the past, which is where you believe the sin is, and sin is nothing more than a mistaken perception. That person didn't do right, and I'm going to hold on to it. You don't need the ego's present, which is the guilt. I see somebody doing something wrong now, and they shouldn't be doing it. That reminds me that they're guilty, and guilt demands punishment. Obviously, the ego spends no time in the eternal now, which is the holy instant. It's always bringing the past into the present, so there is no present. And the third of the three legs of the ego is fear of the future. So repeating what Ken Wapnick says, without these defenses, there's nothing in our minds to project outward onto this world. There's sin of the past, guilt of the so-called present, and fear of the future. At that point, then, we simply accept the love of God, which has always, keyword has always been present within us. So you can look for love in all the wrong places in this world. And obviously, he tells you in lesson 200, which is in 6 days, there is no peace but the peace of God. You're not going to find it. What are you looking for? We're looking for ourselves. We're looking for ourselves. And the easiest way to find yourself is to see your brother as yourself. That's equality. And Jesus is very clear in the Course. He says, the key to the kingdom. Who's the kingdom? He tells you the kingdom is not at hand. It's not close. The kingdom is you. You're looking for yourself. The key to the kingdom is peace. And we all know the goal of this course is peace. And peace means I'm removing all the thoughts from my mind. And if you were listening to Cindy on Sunday, I think the key words that came through is truth has no thought. Truth has no thought. I mean, thoughts are always of the ego. The ego, oh, well, I have a belief about this. This is my thought. Of course, there is such a thing as the thoughts I hold with God, which is my loving thoughts. And then there's the thoughts that God knows nothing about, which is the thoughts I learn from ego. And those are the ones I use to protect myself. I analyze, I resist, I push people away, don't let people get too close. And all of that is layers on top of the love I am. So when we threw the peace away in the 4 obstacles to peace, the first is I have no need of the peace. When I threw the peace away, I actually threw away the only thing that really protects me. Now, the funniest thing is you can't throw peace away. You can believe you can trade it. Well, I'll trade something I really don't need in this world for something that's going to allow me to survive. I want to survive. I want to win. The one who has the most toys at the end of the game wins. So, I want to win this game. So what do I need peace for when I want to win? Someone has to lose. I don't want peace. So we get to see that the peace never left. And as you remove the thoughts of the past, the ego's idea of the present, which is seeing people as guilty or innocent, and the thoughts of the future, where I really am afraid that, because the future, I know, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I have to plan for it, right? If I don't plan for it, something terrible could happen. And of course, he tells you in lesson 135, a healed mind doesn't plan. A healed mind doesn't plan. It receives wisdom greater than its own. And then it goes to that paragraph 18. What can you not accept? And it's in your acceptance. It's in your acceptance that you really do find the peace. Because when you accept, you're not resisting anymore. You're allowing, you're accepting. And I don't need to change anything anymore. And so finally, Ken winds up with, this love of God has been present within us always. It's been always present in us. So with that, I see your hand is up, Len. So why don't I just turn this mic on over to you? Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's wonderful. You talked about equality, and I've been going through my poetry, and I wrote a poem on July 25th, 2012, and I call it A Happy Dream. And in the happy dream, I see the patches, chips and breaks and burns and scars, letting be beyond perfection, all lessons learned since the dark, grace past denial of what is real. Now the breaks will heal together, chips will fill, scars will clear, burns will vanish in the light as our patches are sewn into each other.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Reminds me of that. Actually, it's attributed to Rumi, although I can't think of the singer, the Canadian. He said the same thing. Light enters where the wound is, where the wound and the hurt is. That's where the light enters. Does anyone remember the name of the singer? Famous Canadian singer, Take Me Down to the River. Suzanne takes me down to the river.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
Hallelujah is his song. I can't think of his name. Okay, it doesn't matter. But just yesterday, I saw that Rumi is given credit for that thing. So maybe he took it from Rumi. I don't know. And I was just about to put up exactly what you were talking about too. This equality is really such a healing idea. The belief in equality, the belief in equality is the belief in healing. Now, the Course uses the word joining. When you are joined in mind, you are healed. Equality is the condition for joining. You can only join with something that is the same as yourself. And it just came to me in the last couple days that our greatest fear is the idea that I am so different and others are so different from me, and that's the belief in inequality. The belief in inequality, because what that does basically, it separates, it divides, it makes one different than another. And differences do not exist in heaven. Differences do not exist in reality. So it's the equality, which is the second of the two conditions necessary for entering the kingdom. You cannot know yourself, which is to be the kingdom, unless your mind is at peace and has one other condition, equality. You see yourself and your brother as equal. So you're including your brother as yourself. We're including our brother as ourself. Including your brother as yourself actually is the key to the atonement. It says, accepting the atonement is my only responsibility. But what is the atonement? To include my brother as myself is an easier way than saying the past never existed. But the atonement for me for many years was, well, whatever happened in the past really didn't happen. How do you know it didn't happen? Because my brother and I are one. The separation never happened. So I'm going to ask, since basically this is the group we call Finding Your Own Inner Teacher, does anyone have anything they want to share on any of this at all? Yes, Susan.
I wanted to share
Yes.
about what the lesson is tonight. I have this tendency to go into the past and say, I don't want to do that. I don't want that. And so then what happens is, to resist the past, I make plans. Now, I don't think that it's bad to make plans. I think we all make plans for all kinds of things, to see the doctor, to see a friend, to have dinner, whatever. But I make plans for death. And so what's been happening lately is that I become very aware of what I'm doing. And what I'm trying to do every day is to say what you just said about, that lesson about the idea that I will be told, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and investigate this plan that I've made, but I'm going to be told whether or not, and I'm going to have to listen. And I think that that's brought me some peace. Sometimes something will happen. Like I broke my back about 6 weeks ago, and that's really slowed me down. It's also made me question a lot of stuff, but it's really slowed me down.
Did you say that you broke your back?
Yeah,
Really?
I did. I lifted up the foot of the bed. And so that has slowed me down. But those are the kinds of things that cause me to worry. Oh my gosh, who's going to take care of me? Okay, just what you were talking about. And so I guess what I want to say is that I think that on this path, that there has to be some trust. And I hear, when Regina Dawn Akers was teaching, I also heard her say that, I'm really trying to listen. whether it's listening to my body or taking the things that are happening and really listening to my heart and saying, okay, so you're trying to make sure that certain things don't happen. And as you do that, you make plans and you want that to work. But how do you know when it's not supposed to work? How do you know that? And so what I'm trying to do is to really listen and say to myself, the plan that I had made was I was going to do this move. And with this back, like it is, I can't move. I can't do anything. I can't pack. I can't do a thing. And so I'm sort of looking at that as, maybe you need to trust. Maybe there's something else. And before, I don't think I could ever think that there was something else. But now I do. Now I'm like, everything works together for good to those who trust. And I'm trying to realize that rather than resist this that's happening, to sort of sit back and sort of smile and say, okay, what's next? And to then sort of rest and say, do nothing. Do nothing. And even though that sounds rather garbled, as I've been walking this path of thinking about what I've been thinking about is going to a continuing care facility. And so I've been walking that path thinking that that's what I need to do. And, I'm getting these messages that I don't think so. I don't think I can do that. But what will happen next? And instead of panicking about it, I'm trying to smile and say, doesn't make any difference. You only have today. So I have a lot to work on. There's a lot of me that works against equality, that hides, that doesn't put myself out there, that kind of thing. And it's a slow process of realizing I do it and then being inspired not to do it, kind of thing. So, or being inspired to reach out more. So this is good tonight. This is good for me. I want to hear more people talk about it because resistance is a big part of what I do. I resist. My back is broken, so I'm going to do more rather than do less. I know that my back will heal, but it takes time. So.
Okay, that was very beautifully. You picked up all of the elements that we talk about. It's very important. And I heard you use the word trust. We got to trust more. You mentioned Regina. As you know, Regina has this RAT, rest, accept, and trust.
Right.
I must admit, when she came up with it, I had the same 3 letters, but not in that order. Because for some reason I just couldn't accept rat. But I came up with art. And for me, I've looked at it many times. I don't think it really matters whether you rest first and then you accept, or you accept and then you rest. But for me, the art of living here is acceptance. I mean, you all know my favorite thing is, what can you not accept? In paragraph 18, if you knew that everything that happens, everything, all events, is gently planned for you by one whose only purpose is your good. So, when you were speaking, this thought came up for me, which I want to share. Teddy Poppy. Some of you know Teddy Poppy. He passed away about 6 months ago, and he was famous for saying, "Hey, listen, you come into this world, we're all test crash dummies."
Yeah.
Now, if you understand the idea of a test crash dummy, when they build new cars and they want to see how safe it is, they don't put humans in it when they crash into a wall at 30 miles an hour. They put a test crash dummy in, and to see what happens. So that's what happens. And you mentioned the word, you're into resistance. I gotta say that resistance is a hard way of going. And I know that, I don't know if I told this story again. I hate to retell a story. And if you heard this before, just say, forget it and go like that. But uh, I had a bout of cancer back in 2013, about 10 years ago, or 9 years ago. So anyway, they gave me, because of my size, I'm 6 foot. In those days, I was 6'4", and my weight in those days I was 230 pounds. Today I'm 180, thank God. That they gave me what's called the normal dose. It's a formula. It's the formula is observed worldwide, so it's not only even here in the United States. The formula is the dosage is your height times your weight. So I was tall and I was heavy. And I got a massive dosage, and I got knocked for a loop. I mean, real knocked for a loop. My immune system got knocked out, and most of you know that story. I was sitting in a hospital room, and the doctor said, "Well, you're going to get better." I know that Kathy knows that story. I said, "Yeah, I know I'm going to get better, but when am I going to get out of here?" And I said, "Holy Spirit, what is this for?" And Holy Spirit said to me, "You're perfectly cared for." And I was complaining. But that's not the story about the resistance. The story about the resistance is, I was saying to myself, why is it that I went to the hospital twice for 7 days for them to get my immune system out of the river, out of the bottom, and they had to bring me back to life again. And that doesn't happen normally. And I was wondering, why is that happening to me? And I started, and I asked about why they give, on what basis they give dosages. And it's always the same as height and weight, and has nothing to do with your willingness to be either resistant or your willingness to be accepting. So it came to me that I'm a very accepting person, and accepting people don't need the same dose. And I came up with a series of 20 questions. I can name one of those 20 questions now because it's the one that's easiest for me to remember. I can't really, but I can always come up with the other 19. But anyway, one of them is, if you went to a restaurant and you were sitting at a table, and a family came and sat down next to you, and all of a sudden one of the children started screaming and hollering, and you thought you're entitled to a nice quiet meal, would you raise your hand and call the waiter over and ask for another table, or would you accept it and just be there? And on a 1 to 5, if you said I accept it as 5 and I want another table as 1, I came up with 20 questions that showed your willingness to either resist or accept. And I spoke to the head of oncology at Mount Sinai, which is the hospital where I was cared for. It was a top cancer hospital in New York, along with Sloan Kettering. And the doctor said, "You're right." He said, "People who are resistant are much more difficult to treat. And they do actually probably should have a larger dose because they live in a lot of fear."
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So I brought that whole thing up to show that resistance is not an easy path to go. It's a very difficult path to go. And I leave that to you to take a look at, that rest, accept, and trust, or accept, rest, and trust. I don't care if you use art or rat, is really, can I really accept this? Can I just rest in it? And when you're doing that, you're already trusting. You're already trusting. Now, if you know Dove, I would say, and this is on the back of my card. Trust would settle every problem now. And I didn't write that. That's in the Course in Miracles. That's in chapter 20, chapter 26, section 8, paragraph 2. Trust would settle every problem now. We don't trust. Another word for distrust is fear.
And, you know, I think that a lot of times the old ego experience, the whole experience thing, what you bring to an experience, and how experiences, that things that aren't even happening to you, but are happening to friends or loved ones, and you see what happens, and you're like, you know, you have choices in your perception. And then what happens is, when you're in those experiences, a lot of times you take the perceptions from the last, or that experience that you made a non-trusting, and pass it on.
Suzanne, you're absolutely right about that, but that's how the ego learns. The ego
I know,
learns,
right.
ego learns by watching others and saying,
Mhm.
well, that's what they did. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to go the other way.
Right.
And my earliest experience of that, I was like 6 years old, and it was time to have my tonsils taken out. And those are the days of ether.
Yep.
You don't,
I had done at 3.
what?
I had mine done at 3 when I was 3 years old.
Okay. So wise Alec, wise guy Dove, asked, "Is this going to hurt?" And hi, Joni. Hi, love. I said, "Is this going to hurt?" And all I ever heard is, "Well, you know, after it's over, you're going to have Jello and ice cream." And oh, okay. But no one actually answered the question, "Is this going to hurt yet?" And I remember I was on a gurney waiting my turn, and there was a girl on the gurney just ahead of me. And I said, I'm going to listen to see if she cries and screams, because if she cries and screams, I know this is going to hurt. And maybe I can get off this gurney and run the hell out of this hospital. I want you to know I actually thought that. All I heard was a whimper, and then nothing else.
Silence.
And I said, oh my God, I guess it doesn't hurt. I want you to know, when they put that ether mask on top of it, that was the worst experience of my life. That was the worst. So, you know, the ego is always saying, well, I'll see what other people do, and then I'll do it. Of course, that's the sheep kind of thing,
Yeah, we're all a little sheep. Well, when I got my tonsils out, they tricked me. Back then, the doctor said, don't tell her. Tell her she's going someplace to do something else. So mine was even worse.
Okay. It really doesn't matter how you're fooled, but this world is a world of deception.
Yes.
We get
that's
distracted by what other people say. And the whole course is about saying, listen, I don't know what anything is for. Let me ask Holy Spirit, what is this for? And you'll always get a very peaceful, calming response. If you don't get no response, it's still a peaceful, calming response.
Well, and the other thing that goes along with that is I'm responsible. I'm responsible. And you can't blame other people for your choices.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's something that I have a tendency to want to do too, to blame somebody else. And it's my responsibility. So there are a lot of lessons to learn. But this is at least giving me something that catches me as my ego is leading me down this path, to be able to say, oh no, I'm not going there. That's not a good idea.
I think you're saving grace. I'll give you the mic in a minute, Corinne. Your saving grace is, I hear you using the word, I'm aware of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness of thoughts is everything. If you're aware of your thoughts, you begin to recognize, hey, that's the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't listen to that anymore. I have no need of listening to that anymore. Corinne, the mic is yours.
Okay. Yes, when you were saying that trust will settle every problem. Now, I know you think I have a couple of your cards, and the now this time is what really stood out for me, because also being in the now will settle every problem. Because yeah, we either in the past or in the future. And I place the future in the hands of God is a great lesson for today. And I was a little bit since yesterday thinking about the fact that I haven't heard from my husband. You know, usually every day we have a communication, and he's alone, you know, he's older. So I started to have some thoughts about what could be wrong. Sent him like 3 emails, which he responds quicker to emails than to telephone calls. Well, his phone is off anyway. So anyway, when I didn't hear last night from him, I worried some. But this morning I went back to my notes again, and yeah, talking about um, Sunday's talk with in the evening with Regina, I took some notes, and it's interesting that she mentions the willingness, you know, the process being unwillingness. And so being aware, I have the awareness already with the thoughts. I know that that's not what I want. So now my willingness and sincerely wanting to change that, what helped was to focus on the spiritual aspiration, which is okay, truth for me, truth and love, and to be in that presence, you know. And so when I thought about my thoughts, when I reviewed the thoughts, and I'm like, okay, I'm always at choice. I could choose to stay with these thoughts, or I could focus and remember right now I am safe and he is safe and he is, you know, I mean, I did a little process with that instead of the other thoughts. And then I got my peace. I got back to my peace. And then today he called me and told me he actually did a bold move and went and visit many hours away by himself in a car to go visit his cousin, which I had suggested and he wasn't interested in, but he ended up doing that and he was fine and everything was good, you know. But it's just again to show where my tendency is to worry or to think about what could go wrong, you know. And Suzanne, thank you earlier. You said about death. You said, oh gosh, what was it? Like you focus on death or something like that. And I think part of me has that story, but not in the same way. It's like in my mind, what I do is like, oh my goodness, you know, I already saw him. Something happened to him, you know, and you know, if he dies and what's gonna happen. I mean, I went there, you know, but I didn't really stay with it. But I saw the mind doing all these tricks, and I realized that that's what they were. So it's okay to see it, and like you said, to just rest and just allow them to be there, because I think trying to stop those or trying to distract my mind is not the answer, but just allowing the thoughts, seeing them for the untruth that they are, the illusion that it is, and then going back to clarity and what is, you know, instead of what could be. And that was the process. So it was a little while, but it worked and everything is okay. And I just know that that process works. It's just really practicing it earlier, and you know, with almost everything is key to that. So thank you.
You
Okay.
just gotta laugh, Corinne. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. Laughter now saves lifetimes of not laughing later. Yeah. And he tells you, you know, actually, if you're a student of Ken Wapnick, uh, his whole thing is you really got to laugh. To take anything in this world seriously is only the ego. Only the ego takes things in this world seriously. And of course, he points to what it says in, I guess it's chapter 27, the hero of the dream, I think it is, where he says, into eternity crept a tiny mad idea in which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. We took things seriously. I wanted to be special. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be different. I want to be more, better, different, special. You got to laugh. When in truth, the truth is we're all equal. So it's the belief in inequality, which is differences. I want to be better than, more than, you know, and I can learn more and I can get more. I think, you know, I heard myself, I was on the phone with Cindy today. We were talking, you know, Cindy, of course, for those people who came a little late, Cindy is attending a series of Tuesday evening talks with Regina that starts at 6:30 and is over at 7:30. I mean, she could pop in now, but chances are that she won't. but I was talking to her, and I think she was telling me about a dyad that she does, and I've never really done a dyad, and she said, well, this is what happens in a dyad, and she told me about it, and I didn't seem to have any real interest in it. I said, I think I'm a little too old for that. She says, well, what do you mean by old? I said, yeah, you're right. That's the wrong word. I think I'm winding down. I'm winding down. And then I'm coming to the end of my learning. I don't have to learn more. What's there to learn? Uh, uh, when you stop learning, you're actually peaceful. The ego wants to learn. There's no two ways about it. The ego says, I got more to learn. Always putting it into the future. That's how you catch how the ego acts. Whenever he talks about the future, that's the ego. Ego lives in time. Spirit lives now. Now, there's nothing to learn now. And if there is something to learn, then all things are lessons God would have me learn. And I go right back to, we're all test crash dummies, as Teddy Poppy said. And if you get yourself into a crash and you get hurt, somebody scams you, like happened to me recently. If you keep thinking about it, that's where you live in the past. The ego wants you to live in the past because it wants you to live in a dream. But if you let the past go, like it's gone, it can touch me, it can touch me not, and you live in the present, no matter what it is, you're perfectly safe, you're perfectly cared for, and that's what trust is. I trust that all things are happening perfectly. Any thoughts on any of this? Yes, Diane. You're muted.
Sorry. Okay, I had an experience the last couple of days of supposedly purchasing tickets for the Los Angeles Philharmonic, and they have a new person in charge, and they're supposed to be nice to me because they kicked me out the last 2 years for not being vaccinated. They were not accepting anybody without a card, period. No tests, no nothing counted. So here I am. I have really good seats that we earned over 20, 30 years of attending and subscribing every year. And so I was not happy with them. And they were supposed to try to make me happy. And so there's a new woman in charge of the donors. It's like the head of the development department. And she was supposed to get these tickets for me. And it involved two friends of mine who used my tickets last year when I couldn't go in order to save the seats for me for this year. And then they didn't do it. So I was like holding them hostage for like the 3 tickets. And this woman dragged her feet, and I tried so hard to communicate what we needed, and she was not listening. There was like no opening between her and me, and I would say something and she would come back and pretend like I hadn't said it. And and I was tearing my hair out because one of the 3 of us was leaving today, and we were gonna trade around tickets and trade around seats and concerts, and we losing days meant getting worse seats, and my friend was not coming back for a whole nother week, and so we lost like I gave her an order on Thursday, and yesterday she said, well, we're gonna do it tomorrow. So I had lost 5 days of not getting those tickets because she was messing around. And then she had an excuse why she had to go to the manager because I was asking for an exception, which I was not. And it got so bad. My temperament just went through the roof. I mean, my body got it was like if you saw a picture of my ego body, it was all twisted and distorted and really awful.
So,
And I just said, this is the way I'm supposed to not do things, you know. And and it's planning for the future. And the minute I said, we don't need to plan for the future. And there's no reason why we have to have those subscription tickets ahead of time. And the minute I got it, that the now was all that mattered, and we could decide any Sunday we wanted to go to the concert and go buy a ticket and just be in the present moment with it. And there was such great relief that we are actually going out tonight to celebrate. But
that's great, by the way, Diane. Uh, you went from the dark into the light.
yeah, and I started questioning, you know, life's not supposed to be like this. There's no communication here. There's nothing but
Yeah.
resistance. I mean, it's back to the word resistance from Suzanne. It was all resistance from her. And I said, well,
Well,
that's
well,
for me.
well, actually, if you think the resistance is on the other side, you can be sure that's the ego talking to you.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no, but when you were sharing, what came up for me is lesson 193. All things are lessons God would have me learn. All things.
Yeah,
So we were talking about resistance and acceptance. If you resist, there's going to be pain. There's no two ways about it. That's what resistance is.
that's right.
Resistance is the source of all pain and suffering.
And this
Because I wanted to be different. I wanted to go my way. You know, I don't
Yeah.
want it their way. I want it my way. Acceptance says, what is it that you can't accept if you but knew that everything that's happening, all events, including this woman, is doing the exact thing that you asked her to do? Do you know where that's written?
No, but I know it's there.
It's in a section called Dream Roles, chapter 29, section
Okay.
4. And I think it's one of the most enlightening things you can read, by the way. Enlightening. Chapter 29, section 4, Dream Roles. And basically it says, no one in your dream, this woman at the ticket booth is in your dream. No one in your dream can do anything to you except the role that you assigned to her for the lesson that you came here to learn. And I think that you did learn the lesson because you didn't stay in that tortured, twisted ego. My God, these things that happen. Why is these things happening to me?
Yeah, no, it was this is the wrong path.
Yeah, I see Kathy has her hand up. No, Kathy?
No, I was saying goodbye to Lynn.
Oh, you're saying
Lynn,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
Lynn was leaving and I was just saying goodbye.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So your willingness to step back and see that everything is happening for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might not say it's happening for me. I mean, I didn't get the seats I want, and this woman doesn't even hear me. She's talking about something else, has nothing to do with what I'm asking her. But that's all perfect. I mean, I see it as perfect. That it was the lesson you came here to learn is what can you not accept? Resistance will hurt. Acceptance will bring your mind back to peace. And the goal of this course is peace. It's not getting what you want. I mean, one of my other favorite lines in the course, and it's in today's textbook reading, which happens to be chapter 18, I think it's section 6, Beyond the Body. It says anything that you want in this world and you strive for and you try and get it, like you were trying to get the tickets that you wanted, will hurt you. It says that. This is what Jesus says, will hurt you.
Yeah, it did.
Not that it can really hurt you, but
Right.
one more time, you believe in something that was not real. Tickets, green paper strips. I want more money. I want the better tickets. I want this, I want that. And that will hurt you. It's your willingness to say, I do not know what anything is for, that will bring you back to peace.
And trusting that God's way is better and that this is not the right path, even though I think it is. There's another purpose here, and there's another way.
If you see this person, the ticket person, as anything different than you, you're already into differences and resistance. We started today saying that equality is what heals. Seeing your brother as yourself is what heals. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is to heal our mind. That's the purpose for doing the course. There's no other purpose but to remember the truth of what I am. Truth of what I am is I am one with my brother. You're one with that ticket person, but she played the part that you asked her to play so that you can learn the lesson that you came here for. And it sounds like you did learn a nice lesson.
Yeah.
Because she said, hey, listen, I can go on any day, on any Sunday I choose to go. I'll go. I don't have to live in the future. I can live in the present. So you went from the dark into the light.
Yeah. And I gave up the benefits thereof. That smacked a little bit, because when you're a subscriber, you get more.
Well, benefits.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still, obviously I would not have been happy with the decision to continue with the subscription.
Yeah, benefits always makes you special, and specialness is really the ego's favorite toy.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
well,
that's a good one.
maybe I get a pass to the backstage and talk to the to the actors and the singers, and maybe that's part of the upfront privilege, and I understand that, and of course everybody likes that kind of thing.
Well, we like to be treated special.
Well,
And
I'm saying, if you like to be treated special, you definitely listen to the ego. Definitely.
Absolutely.
I certainly don't want to be special. I really don't. I don't want to be right, and I don't want to be special. Maybe I overdo that a little. But it's okay to overdo it, as long as you're laughing. As long as you're laughing.
That's right. It's fun.
Are there any other thoughts? Anyone?
I just want to bring in what I'm going through and thank you, because you're a big part of it, especially since you were part of the beginning of my introduction to A Course in Miracles 3 years ago. And just what you said, I don't want to be special. I don't want to be right. That is the biggest lesson for me, because that's all I've ever wanted to be, is right and special. So I have been healing my relationship with my ex, who's now my new friend, Jack. But I had the I'm right ego had arose again, and I have asked him in various ways. He's reflected back that I'm still asking to be special. Well, that's to some extent true. So I took it again to Holy Spirit, because I thought it was doing so well, and but underneath, knowing this, he's an actor, knowing he's a mirror in my mind, I really got to that, the trust thing that you said. I took it to Holy Spirit overnight, woke up with, this is the lesson where trust in spirit, or truly rely on spirit totally, which is really my biggest and most avoiding kind of thing. So through the day, as he was getting irritated that I wanted more out of this relationship, and which would be the special part, and I had sent some information that kind of bolstered my opinion, so therefore right. I'm okay today not being right. he's got a different point of view. I'm okay today not being special, not being his wife, not reconciling in the way I would like it, because that is an altar, a distractive altar from God. And if I can attach my wagon to God and Holy Spirit and turn that over, I can be in a limitless opportunity of other relationships, a different form. I'm free, literally, financially, and being right, it just blocks what God has for me. So I can say this, it's not always pretty, but I like whittling it down to, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be special. And that's what I'm going to work on. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Joni. And for those people who don't know Joni, she's one of the main people at Maureen Muldoon's. At least I go to it on Sundays, Sunday morning service. I didn't go this Sunday. You missed me because I was listening to at Regina's sanctuary to Cindy, who's my teacher here. So, but it's called Speakeasy Sunday morning service. Starts 11:30, and the Zoom. You get the Zoom. Actually, it's posted on Open Minds. So if you're a member of Open Minds, I know that Kathy is. So it's always you can actually watch it on Open Minds. It's also on YouTube and all that. So so Joni has that wonderful service, and they get about a good 40, 50 people almost every Sunday. And there's always a singer from Ireland. Almost always, they have the greatest music. I happen to love Irish music. For some reason, I do. So there's always a good Irish singer at the very beginning, in the middle, and at the end. So if you're not doing anything 11:30 Eastern time, please go.
Yeah. And then I just put the Speakeasy Spiritual Community Calendar, and any of the things that we offer, you just click on it. If you sign up, then you'll get notified and be on our list, and that's how.
And they have very interesting salons too.
Yeah, all that's in there.
And you can lead your own salon too. In other words, if you have some kind of thing that you would like to have other people hear you talking about, or you want to instruct them in something, you can run your own salon too.
Yep.
It's really
Well,
a great place.
And it was Dove when he offered, I mean, I had been part of his community for a long time, but you had offered counseling, and I called up whining, and then that was the introduction to Maureen and Speakeasy and Miracles Live 365. Yes, I now spend only 3 or 4 hours a day doing the coursework, but and don't always have energy at night. But I'm very grateful. It just changed my mind. That's all that matters. So
Yeah,
thank
you've come a long way, Joni.
Thank you. Thanks to you. I hear your voice in my head all the time. Thank you. All right. We have in Speakeasy, there's Amy who does a forgiveness call Zoom on Mondays, is doing another one right now.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want to join us, I'll give you that link. You can go directly there without signing up or anything. But she's really good at doing the Ho'oponopono, and she just is a great teacher. And she only started recently, and so I recommend it. So let me give you.
She's on Mondays. Are you saying Mondays?
She's on tonight, once a month.
Oh,
like
Tuesdays.
that.
Okay.
It's just,
Okay.
it's
Very good.
part
Okay.
of that salons, or it's teaching stuff. So if you want to jump on, I'm going to jump off. If you want to jump on, you can hear a little bit about forgiveness.
Okay.
And she does it Mondays on ACIM every Monday.
She does every Monday at ACM Gather, which is our Zoom class at 7 o'clock. So if you want that, it's the same person, and it happens to be a great hour. She does it through Ho'oponopono, but she doesn't practice it with another person. She does it with God, and and all are invited to do the same thing.
She does a great job. So I'm going to go there now. I
Yeah.
invite you if you want to join. See,
She-
maybe.
okay.
Come on over.
All right.
Come on over, Dove.
Okay, I'm going to spend another minute or two just mentioning that talking about what Diane had gone through, and I'm going to talk about it. Something that Regina, people always have, what is your idea of love? And this past Sunday night, she says, love is spirit giving to spirit through spirit what spirit requests. Now, in other words, it seems like this person was most unloving to you. But in this world, we are doing this for each other. So we are coming here to learn lessons. So that happens to be a really fine way of looking. Spirit giving to spirit through spirit what spirit requests. So the lesson that you came here to learn was given to you through another spirit by Holy Spirit. And it was a lesson that you came here to learn.
Yeah, that's good.
So I wanted to share that with everybody.
Right.
And that kind of winds us up. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
Thanks. I want to make a meme of that. So as soon as I get the recording, I'll make a Canva for you.
Somebody's at my door, so I need to go. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and I'm going to stop the recording right now.